So we get to episode 7. This one's called Penguin's Umbrella. What a roller coaster ride this one is. Cracking episode. Really good stuff. It feels like a lot has been leading to this particular episode. A lot of people are making stands. A lot of the rivalries are really coming to the fore. Kind of people are coming face to face with each other and bashing things out. And Penguin's plan is kind of revealed, or at least we learn a lot more about what is actually going on with his character. And he makes a lot of moves in this episode. Where do we start? First of all, Gordon and Bullock. They start off the episode kind of at each other's throats. At least Bullock is at Gordon's throat. They have a little bit of a fight, actually. Because Bullock obviously is not too impressed that Gordon didn't actually pull the trigger on Penguin. He was supposed to kill him for Falcone, and he didn't. So that sets him off, and then Gordon is literally on his own. Everyone is against him, the whole police force, and we get one of my favourite villains from the comic books, from the Batman comic books, which is Victor Zsasz. Now, there's a bit of a Nolan influence to this version of Zsasz, because Nolan did use Zsasz in Batman Begins. He was played by the lead singer of one of my favourite bands, in fact, James. The lead singer is Tim Booth, and he played Zsasz. It was kind of more of a cameo thing, but in that film it was explained that Zsasz was a hired hitman for the mob. Whereas in the comic books, at least when he first started out, I don't know what they're doing with the character these days because I've not picked up a comic book in some time, but when I was reading them, he was just someone who had what he saw as an epiphany one day, which is that life is meaningless and the only time people truly live is in that moment just before they die. And he became addicted to that rush, and he would just kill people. Any chance he got, he would kill people. And every time he killed someone, he put a scar on his body. So his entire body is just filled with these scars. So a very interesting character. How do you sustain that kind of character in a long-running series? I suppose you can't really do that without giving him some other motivation, which is hired hitman for the mob, which, like I say, Nolan did first, so I guess they're picking up from where Nolan left off. I like the guy that plays him. I've seen this guy before. I think he's been in Smallville or some show like that. Might be The Flash, actually, or Arrow, or one of those kind of things. Another DC show, anyway. I think it is The Flash. I like this guy as Zsasz. He's got that creepy look about him. He really suits the character, and he's got quite a bit of charisma as well. So I love the way this guy just waltzes straight into the police force and stands on the table and starts making these announcements and tells all the police to just get out. He only wants Gordon, the rest can go. I mean, it's like the balls on this guy. But he knows that most of the police force is in Falcone's pocket, so he can do that. He knows he can walk in and just do that. But that whole scene, in fact, when he walks in, when he goes in there and he calls out Gordon, and Gordon has no support, and even Captain Essen, she leaves him, and she does offer to stay. I'll give her that much credit. She does offer to stay, but when Gordon says no, leave. You know what's going to happen here. Chances are we're not going to come out alive. And she does. She leaves. Something she does come to regret later on. And then there's a big chase, big shootout. Gordon actually gets shot. Something I didn't see coming, to be honest. The fact that they really went to town on Gordon in this one. He really gets put through the ringer. This is the point where I expected Bullock to come back and save Gordon, and he didn't. He was actually Montoya. and her partner. So that was a really nice moment, actually. I gave me the feels, I've got to say. I always like it when you have a moment like this where a character has had certain preconceptions about another character, and when they realise they're wrong, they make a great effort to correct it. They make a great effort to make it up to that person. And what better way to make it up to someone than saving their life? So yeah, that whole sequence, really good stuff. Like I say, gives me more of a reason to like Montoya now. I've not liked her at all in this series so far, but yeah, bit of redemption for her in this. So yeah, that's nice. And you know, if you know the comic books, you know who Montoya is. You know that actually she is someone that Commissioner Gordon, can call on, can trust. You know, she's one of the good guys, one of the good cops. So yeah, I feel like this is a turning point in the show in which that this is going to be the real focal point of when Gordon can start to clean up the police force, particularly with the likes of Essen. You know, it hits home pretty hard with Essen and what she's done, particularly in the next episode, from what I remember. So yeah, really good stuff on that front. And then we get a bit of a confrontation between Maroni and Fish Mooney, because Fish Mooney really wants Oswald. She wants Maroni to give up Oswald, obviously because he knows her secrets, and Maroni just won't. And I like Maroni's attitude to it. He's just laughing it off. He thinks it's all one big joke. And when Fish Mooney asks why won't you just give him over, and he's just like, I like the little guy. He makes me laugh, and it's just, yeah. Again, love how that actor plays it. Perfect casting for Maroni, and Robin Lord Taylor in this, really slimy, really kind of. He gets so cocky in this episode and psychotic as well. He takes out Maroni's right hand man so that he, in turn, can become Maroni's right hand man. He's really climbing up the ladder fast. And yeah, there's that moment where he kills this dude. He loses it. He proper loses it. And even the guys he's hired to double cross this guy, they're kind of looking at him thinking, this guy's nuts, absolutely nuts. Yeah, Bullock eventually comes back. He comes back to Gordon, and he essentially thinks if he's going to get taken out, which it looks like he pretty much is, because everyone's after him and Gordon now, he may as well go down fighting. He may as well go down at least trying to arrest these guys or take them out in some way. So he goes back to Gordon and helps him. A few funny exchanges there between him and Gordon, particularly when Bullock seemingly brings home what I can only assume is a prostitute to Gordon's residence, and takes her off to the bedroom. But again, those two actors really excelling in the show. And I love that they arrest the mayor. I love that scene in the car when they just arrest the mayor. And they're kind of like two outlaws now, two sheriffs, if you will, in some really messed up town who've decided they're just going to try and take as many people down as possible. Obviously, this doesn't last very long because they get to Falcone's and Barbara has been taken. She's meant to do a runner. She's meant to go somewhere safe, but she comes back to plea bargain essentially for Gordon's life, which is noble. Again, it gives me another reason to like her a little bit more, but it essentially cocks up Gordon and Bullock's plans. But also maybe saves their life in the process, because let's face it, there's probably no way they were getting out of that house alive. Falcone, again, I really like this actor, I really like him playing this character. And the big reveal at the end with Oswald actually working for him, did not see that coming. So yeah, they picked Gordon to be the one to kill him because they knew that if anybody would would disobey and would actually try and get out of it somehow, it would be Gordon, because he is the only moral cop in GCPD. Fish Mooney in this episode I really liked, actually. She's her attitude now and her, I guess her aggressiveness, if that's a word, that is a word, isn't it? I don't know, whatever. It comes out anyway in this episode quite a bit. She's up in everyone's faces, and I like Jada Pinkett Smith in this role at the moment. There's been some times where the way she performs it grates on my nerves, but then there's other times, like in this episode, where I think she's really on fire. She really nails it. She's got that menace that is required of this character. And she's even got some funny moments as well, like when she calls Oswald a scaly-faced bitch, and just her delivery of that line is perfect, absolutely perfect. Butch Manzini, is it Manzini? I think it's Manzini. Butch Manzini, Fish Mooney's right-hand man, basically. He gets a lot more to do in this episode as well. A bit more of his character comes out here. He goes round to Gordon's house, and there's a bit of an exchange there in which Gordon just shoots this guy, not Butch, but the guy that Butch has brought with him. He's just no qualms about it. You threaten me, you threaten my girl, I'm going to shoot you in the leg. I like how badass Gordon is in this, but again, with Butch, I like that he gets more to do. He feels a bit more like a player in this episode, like a central player, central figure who deserves to be like one of the cast members, not just a periphery kind of guy. I like that he's a bit of a jolly chap. You feel like he takes relish in his work. He does some nasty work, but he takes pleasure in it. So again, I like the way this guy plays it. It's perfect casting. Someone that you should hate, but you kind of like him. I don't know what that says about me, but yeah. So I'm looking forward to seeing more from this guy. Not a right lot for Alfred and Bruce to do in this episode, but I feel like they're kind of on standby a little bit because they've got other stuff to deal with. They need to deal with all this Falcone, Maroney stuff, Fish Mooney stuff, Oswald stuff. It doesn't leave much room for those characters. But hey, that's okay. You can't give every character their moment to shine in every episode. So, but they do get a little moment. There's a little nice exchange between Bruce and Gordon, in which you realise actually how close, I guess, those two have become. And because it's done in front of Montoya and her partner as well, it also allows a little moment there where Montoya gets to see just how noble Gordon is, just how much Bruce is in, I don't want to say in love with this guy, but yeah, in love with this guy, how much he respects this guy. He hugs him, he gives him this big hug. So it's just another way of showing Montoya that actually she's got this guy completely wrong. Fantastic episode, definitely the best of the season so far. I'm going to give this a 5 out of 5. But what about you? Penguin's Umbrella, did you like this episode? If so, or if not, either way, please comment below and let me know what you thought about it. And until next time, crack in.